Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down one of the most raw, unfiltered, and just intense vehicle reviews I think has ever hit the internet. It's a piece of commentary so powerful, it's pretty much become its own cultural event. This is the regular car reviews takedown of the Tesla Cybertruck.
Yeah, so right out of the gate, you can see the language being used is, well, it's incredibly graphic. The review doesn't frame the Cybertruck as just a machine. Not at all. It's presented as this potent symbol, and a reaction to it is just completely, totally visceral.
Okay, so let's dive in. Our job here isn't to agree or disagree with any of this. It's to take this absolute flood of emotion and opinion and give it some structure. We're going to break down the review's main points into a clear, understandable analysis. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the really big picture stuff, the truck's place in our culture. Then we'll zoom right into the physical object itself. After that, we'll hop into the driver's seat to talk about the user experience. And finally, we'll unpack the review's big theory about the whole philosophy behind this thing. First up, the cultural lightning rod. Right away, the review's main argument is that you just can't look at the Cybertruck like it's just a truck. It is way too loaded with meaning, and it's impossible to separate it from the culture and the controversy around its creator. So the review basically throws the whole idea of a neutral product review right out the window. It says the truck itself is a cultural declaration. To drive it, the reviewer argues, is to literally make a public statement about where you stand and what kind of power structure you align with. And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of that first argument. The review is saying the Cybertruck is less about transportation and more like a mobile billboard for your loyalty, a very deliberate choice to publicly side with immense wealth and influence.
Okay, so let's shift gears from the abstract idea of the truck to the actual, tangible, steel object. And let's just say the review's assessment is, well, it's pretty unforgiving.
The central claim being made here is that the truck isn't just, poorly put together. It's that it seems to be built in a way that's actively hostile to the human body. The review suggests the design choices feel less like an accident and more like something that's fundamentally anti-user. And this isn't just a vague feeling. The reviewer backs this up with a whole list of specific physical complaints. We're talking about a catalog of sharp edges, unfinished surfaces, and just obvious quality control issues that you can literally see and touch. And that's the final verdict on the physical truck. It's a huge statement for sure, but it's a powerful way to wrap up all those smaller complaints into one central idea, that the very design of this vehicle shows a complete disregard, or maybe even disdain for the people inside it. All right, so now we're moving from the outside in, from the static object to what it's actually like to drive it. How does the reviewer claim this hateful design actually feels when you're behind the wheel? A huge point of frustration in the review is the total rejection of muscle memory. These basic, intuitive things that have been the same in cars for decades? Well, in the Cybertruck, they're either moved to weird buttons on the steering wheel, or worse, they're buried inside touchscreen menus. It turns a simple action into this multi-step digital chore. This little flowchart perfectly captures a fundamental design paradox the review points out. Okay, so problem one, the rear window is blocked. The solution, a digital mirror. Makes sense. But then, when you use the truck, like a truck, and lower the tailgate, that solution is now completely broken. It's just a feedback loop of bad design. So this is where the review really connects the dots. The argument is that the frustrating interface and these weird design paradoxes, they're not just quirks. They're seen as symptoms of a product that was designed by people who, allegedly, have lost touch with the reality of how people actually live and drive. And that brings us to the final section. This is where the review really tries to tie everything together. The cultural baggage, the hostile design, the clunky user experience, and boil it all down into one single theory about the ideology that created this truck in the first place. The reviewer zeroes in on one specific feature as the key to understanding everything: the integration of the AI known as Grok. And we're not just talking about a voice assistant here. The review frames it as a constant conversational partner inside the car with you. The argument here is that a feature like this can create a really dangerous feedback loop. The idea is, by having this constant conversation with an AI that's designed to align with a very specific worldview, the driver, according to the review, risks getting sealed off inside a rolling echo chamber, totally losing touch with outside reality and critical thought. So the huge takeaway from the entire review is this: the sharp edges, the broken rear view camera, the glove box and a menu, these aren't mistakes.
They are presented as the logical end result of a design philosophy that has basically retreated from the messy, complicated reality of the human experience. They're not bugs, they're features. And in the end, this massive emotional critique leaves us all with a much bigger question to chew on. At what point does a creator's singular, uncompromising vision for a product, for an interface, for an entire ideology stop serving the customer and start serving only itself? That's the real question at the heart of this whole thing.